So, good morning, everyone. As always, I'd like to start off and say thank you to all the first responders out there that everything that you do day in and day out to keep us moving in the right direction. Thank you as always. Sadly, though, we have two more Albany County residents that have died from the virus, a woman and man, both in their 60s. So my heart and condolences and our prayers go out to the two families and to the other 44 families, which now brings us up to 46. So as Dr. Whalen and I always hope every day with all the testing that we're doing and the message that we continue to put out there about wearing masks, about coughing into your arm, about cleaning your hands constantly, is keeping that number down. But 46 is still alarming, and it doesn't matter if they're underlying health conditions, doesn't matter if they're healthy. It's out there, and it's what we said to everyone. So please, again, think of the 46 families and think of the two families last night that lost their loved ones, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers. So, as of today, there's 1,185 positive cases, which brings us up 34. There's 1,057 people under mandatory quarantine. That's down by 94. And there's 11 people under precautionary quarantine. That's down by 3. So that's good news. We're going down. Shaker Place, our residents there. There's 48 residents who have tested positive, including 2 have recovered. 15 employees have tested positive and remain out, while 9 others have fully recovered and returned to work, which is also good news. And like I've said, we have been aggressively testing the residents and the workers for the last couple weeks to make sure we stay on top of this, contain it to the best of our ability. But as everyone knows, Governor Cuomo said it, that this is ground zero. This is ground zero, so for the coronavirus. So we're staying on top of it. We're doing everything we can to protect your loved ones out there and protect our workers. So thank you to everyone out there doing their great job. There's 2,386 people have completed quarantine. 591 tested positive for the virus and have fully recovered, which is also good news. There are now 34 people hospitalized. That's up 1 from yesterday, but the hospitalization rate stays the same. So again, as we know how we're going to reopen, and I said this before, I think a couple days ago, how we reimagine how the workforce is going to look and how everything's look around you. But one thing that we've always talked about, and from the beginning when the hospital stopped testing, is how we're going to test people, how we're going to find out who has it, how we're going to find out, through mapping and tracing where it's all out at, but most importantly, working with our neighbors. So we've worked with Schenectady County to get them up and running. We have now working with Rensselaer County and Steve McLaughlin. There's finally Whitney Young, the partnership that we've had, are going to be doing testing in Rensselaer, which is good for us because it goes back to what Dr. Whalen and I have said. Without doing this on a regional approach, but how we're so close to our neighbors and without working with them and even Saratoga and getting more testing to them, we're not going to be able to reopen up, people. So just keep that in mind. And again, as more testing comes available, we're going to start testing more and more people to get you back to work. But you got to remember, the new norm is going to be wearing your mask, social distancing. Probably if you worked in a tight office, that's not going to happen in the future. And we're going to do the best of the ability that we can to make sure we're not on top of each other. But if you see in the chart, we have the Monday starts a new week for our mobile sites and a new schedule. So please look at that now, or go on our website and look at the dates and the changes. And there's going to be some changes. So there'll be a couple different days because Whitney Young will be doing stuff in Rensselaer County, but the Whitney Young Center will still be open Monday through Friday, same times as before. That's not going to change, and some of our testing sites are going to change. And we applaud the Albany Housing and everyone helping us to get out to the community to let them know that we're there so we can do this testing for people that don't have means of getting to UAlbany. And again, I want to thank the governor and his people for getting UAlbany up and running. And our test site at Rite Aid in Colony, again, you can go to the website, the www.riteaid.com to sign up for that. And the urgent care in Gilliland that we announced So keep that up. And I do want to say this. It was a hard decision that Governor Cuomo had to make about closing the schools for the remainder of the year. I've talked to his inner core staff on this topic, and not knowing if we opened up the 15th, the end of May, schools, how do they reimagine what they're going to look like going in the future? And if you think about most of your schools, there's 25, 30 kids sometimes in a classroom. Well, how's that going to work? And do schools have the capability of a building to spread them students out? That's going to be another problem. And how do you bring them back safely? And one of the keys of opening up is making sure that we have our kids back in schools, our camps running for kids to go to this summer, but we don't know. And again, I say to everyone in Albany County, especially in the capital region, everyone watching this or listening to this, it's not an easy decision the governor's making. I commend him. You need leadership. He's providing that leadership, and we need his guidance. And you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there together as all New Yorkers, but we're going to get there by being part of the solution, not part of the problem. And that's what I keep saying to everyone that's home. If you have a good point to make, if you have a good scenario for a situation, please, by all means, send it to us, and we'll be more than happy to try to implement that in reopening it up. But we're not going to get there if we don't work together. And to wait on the governor and how he's going to redesign the capital region, we all have to put our input, and we got to make it work. And that's not going to happen again without our great leadership with Dr. Whalen and her team down at the health department to look at how we're going to do testing going forward and how we're going to continue to track this as you open up. The cases rise, do they go lower, or do we steadily increase because we're opening up too quick, or what the fact might be. It's trial and error. We've never been down this road. It's something new, and like I've said to everyone, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and realize things are different. And we have to help our schools redesign. I mean, a lot of schools struggle just to get internet to kids. A lot of schools struggled to make sure every kid had a tablet. A lot of schools are struggling on how to do that type of education going forward. It's different. The good thing is, and we'll get into this in a second, these two seniors I have to my left and right adapt quicker than we do. They're good with technology. And that's what we have to look at going forward, is finding ways of doing things. And I know everyone wants to get out of their house. I know everyone wants to get back to seeing people and hanging out with their friends. We'll get there, but we have to be smart about it. So to that point, again, I want to thank the governor for everything he's doing. And I know it's hard for the seniors that are graduating high school. Do they get to walk over that stage after completing 12 years? Do they get to say goodbye to their favorite teachers, their coaches, their friends in person via FaceTime or social media? Instagram, I think that's what you're all using now, right? Instagram? All right, I'm just checking. Don't use Facebook that much anymore, right? No, that's our generation. So they communicate differently, but still they want to see their friends. And your senior year is like your best experience before you go off to college. And I thought, who better than to have two seniors and have two different outlooks on their future of their senior year and on their future going off to college. So I have Jasmine Edmonds, a senior at Colony Central, who plans to attend the University of Buffalo in the fall. And I have Declan Duffy, who's a senior at Albany County, who plans to go to Boston University. So, Jasmine, I'd like to start with you and talk about what you want to talk about. How's that?
Okay. So, prior to this entire experience, we used to be at school by 7:15, and I would say I definitely took that for granted because I was surrounded by all of my friends during this time, and I didn't really appreciate them because it was so early in the morning. But now you wake up at 8 a.m. and I have to take a calculus course, and it's only 30 minutes, and we're reviewing for an exam that is only 45 minutes and 2 questions. Also, during this time, I have to, at 11 a.m., I take a course, molecular biology, and that was a very hands-on course. It was all about labs, and now, because of this pandemic, all we can really do is research to an extent about the coronavirus and how it's structured and the methods that people are taking to try to fix this situation. I think the hardest part for all seniors is the fact that we don't know if we're going to have a graduation, and we know for a fact we're not having a prom. And can we reschedule that, and how many people would actually attend to that moment, whether it be in July or August, whenever we choose to reschedule that. Yeah, it's our time.
So again, it's different points of views and how you're seeing your life change going into the future from being a senior going to college. And not to scare you two, colleges are looking at doing things differently. Some are talking about not even having a semester in the fall, doing it via telecommunications. So a different experience for a freshman so excited to go off to college, and now you're finding out that you may not be able to go to your schools because it may be held differently, which makes it hard. So Declan, I know you're being a senior, and actually what made me think about this, Dr. Whalen, who's usually next to me, who's in the audience, was talking about she was running a little bit late because Academy decided, and I thought it was so neat, that they were going to go to all their seniors' homes and drop a little sign out, not a political sign, but a sign saying, "Congratulations, you're graduating," to kind of make them feel a little bit about it. And I'm like, you know what? Who better than seniors yourself to talk about your point of view and how this really is affecting you. And sometimes in the midst of any emergency, sometimes we don't, as leaders, take a step back and take advice from you. So how do you feel?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to preface anything I say about my experience of this with thanks for my health and my family's health and the people that make that possible, the people that are on the front lines that I'm surrounded by today. Secondly, I'd like to say on the note of the signs, I thought that was a really nice gesture, and I was just like anybody else in being really skeptical when it came to how my school would transition to online school. I thought it was kind of going to be somewhat of a joke and be interesting to see how it went, but I will say the transition was somewhat seamless. It was done quite well, I will say, but I mean, obviously we're still missing out on these experiences. This is such a monumental point in our lives with our senior sports seasons, our prom, our graduation. They've all been taken from us with this virus, so it's only fair to feel like that it's been stolen out from under us in this anger. But you just have to. As he was saying before, it's a community effort. We have to work together and do our civic duty. It's like the way I'd like to think about it is it's taking place of our final. It's the hardest test we've had to go through in our lives, but the easiest preparation we've ever needed. All we need to do is stay inside and keep each other safe. It's a public safety matter, and I know it's safe that I'm thankful for the highlight that they're giving to the seniors because, it is a struggle for us. We're missing a lot of very important things, but everybody's struggling. Everybody's going through a similar enough experiences. Juniors are missing out on their SATs and being able to make themselves look good for colleges. Freshmen are missing their years, and college kids are being sent home. So the bottom line for me to say is we all have to be in this together and do our duty because everybody's playing a big role in this.
Awesome. And, to Jasmine and Declan, I do appreciate you coming out and talking about your experience. And it is hard. I can't imagine being a senior and not having that opportunity to, see your friends, say goodbye to them. It changes. And when you go off to college, and I just noticed you got your Boston. Yeah, I saw that. Where's your Buffalo?
See, I was going to wear it, but then he was yelling at me. He was like, you got to dress a certain way. And I was like...
see, you listen to your dad. Shouldn't listen to your dad. Should have went with your gut, except my daughter at home listened to dad.
Well, I had blue on, so we were on my pants, but you guys can't see it, so it doesn't matter.
If you say so. I'm not sure if Buffalo's blue, but if you're saying, I'm going to go with it. But, it's tough. In watching the kids... try to deal with this as adults ourselves are having anxiety to deal with the same issue. I commend the two of you, and it will give you a better foundation going into the future, a different appreciation than I can say than any freshman class going to college. Because let's face it, I remember my kids went off to college, and the first thing was the freedom and saying, hey, you got to balance schoolwork with having a little fun and make it all work. You're going to have a different foundation because now you're coming from being home where you couldn't go out and the world's changed. So you're going to be even more prepared to be better leaders in the future. So if you take anything away from that, that's one aspect of this that you can take away. So I do want to say thank you to the two of you. I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk about it. And maybe the press will have some questions for you. Maybe they won't, but they're indicating yes. So I also want to take the time to thank Joanne Atkins, who sent handmade face masks to Shaker Place. Joanne, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time and making the mask and sending it out to not just our residents, but our workers. Thank you so much. And that was very thoughtful and grateful of you, so thank you. And it's always nice when a former colleague stops by and shows support, so thanks to Dan Shaughnessy, who held a thank you sign out at Shaker Place to the workers and everyone else. So Dan, I want to say thank you for you doing that, and I appreciate it. And as always, remember, please, if these two, I don't want to call you kids, adults now, right, that are so resilient, you're changing with, and they probably have anxiety for different things and different issues going on because, again, they're adapting to it, but that's why we established our mental health department. Not just for adults, like I say to everyone out there, you just might feel a little bit different and just want to just get reassurance that you're not the only one, because it is tough. So please call our mental health line, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week, 518-269-6634, and as always, the 211 and the New York State hotline. And again, I like to remind people things are different. I got in trouble when I got home because it was my son's birthday and I had to be home by a certain time, and it's the earliest I went home to get home by 6 to meet the parade, and I went out, and it's funny, people are paying attention. They're like, hey, no more than 10 people on your lawn. I go, there's 8 and we're 6 feet apart, besides the parade of cars. But again, these are things, I like when residents do that. I like when my neighbors say that because, again, we have to be cautious, and we got to make sure that we are doing the right thing. And to everyone out there, thank you for the ones that are doing the right thing.